Now we'll go to the Residential and Civil Construction Alliance of Ontario.
Good afternoon, Chair Hardiman and esteemed members of the Finance and Economic Affairs Committee. My name is Nadia Todorova, and I'm the Executive Director of the Residential and Civil Construction Alliance of Ontario, or RCCAO. I'm very pleased to provide you with our 2022 pre-budget asks. RCCAO is a unique organization that represents both labor and management stakeholders from the residential and civil construction sectors of Ontario. Our primary focus is the importance of investing in core public works and critical infrastructure assets such as transit and water systems, roads, bridges, and housing. Our members, both labor and management, help build and maintain most of Ontario's critical infrastructure that so many of us rely on. As our recommendations reflect, the province must continue to focus on infrastructure investment, as it is one of the best ways to help Ontario's economy in all regions grow and support the unique needs of each region across our diverse province. There are 4 specific issues that RCCAO has, starting off with number 1, the fact that the province of Ontario, in partnership with the Government of Canada, should continue to be ready to provide municipalities with financial assistance like the Safe Restart Agreement and other similar funding programs that took place in 2020 and 2021. In 2020, Ontario municipalities began to reduce their spending and reallocating money from their capital budgets to their operating budgets to fill the deficit gap caused by the pandemic. This was especially true for municipalities with large transit systems such as Toronto. Through collaboration between the province and the federal government, financial assistance through the Safe Restart Agreement in 2020 and other provincial funding programs in 2021 provided the necessary financial relief to Ontario municipalities. Given that the pandemic is still present and many of the revenue sources that municipalities rely on have yet to recover, indications are that municipalities will again face funding gaps. Thus, the Government of Ontario and the Government of Canada must be ready to provide the same financial assistance for 2022. Without financial assistance, municipalities which cannot run deficits and must pass balanced budgets will face having to delay or cancel state of good repair projects and defer necessary critical infrastructure work. Our second ask focuses on continued investment in transportation infrastructure, especially for Highway 413 and the Bradford Bypass. The GTA is among the fastest growing region in North America and expects to welcome an additional 2.8 million people over the next 25 years, with 58% of that population growth destined for York, Halton, and Peel region. This growth will increase demand for critical infrastructure on everything from water, housing, transit systems, highways, and roads. That is why Highway 413 and the Bradford Bypass must proceed and create transportation infrastructure for Ontario's future. Both projects are of vital importance to Ontario in terms of reducing congestion, fostering economic recovery and long-term competitiveness, improving connectivity, supporting housing initiatives, and facilitating job creation. Given the geographical nature of Ontario and the region, we'll always need roads for vehicles, whether they be gas-powered or electric. Our highways and transit must work together. It is not a neither-or scenario. Roads and highways are also essential infrastructure for the movement of goods across Ontario, which is the backbone for local and regional economies. Demand for goods has reached historic levels, especially during the pandemic, and that demand is only projected to increase as both e-commerce takes firm hold and as the population of the region continues to grow. Building and maintaining road infrastructure increases business productivity by reducing time and cost of transporting goods and allowing products to move efficiently through the supply chain. The construction of transportation infrastructure also brings significant economic opportunities. A recently commissioned RCCAO Jobs and Economic Impact report found that building Highway 413 will create up to 8,000 jobs a year during construction, generate $2.3 billion in earnings for Ontario workers, create up to 600 apprenticeships, and produce $906 million in tax revenue. Our third ask focuses on improving the delivery timeframes of underground utility locates. A key element of infrastructure projects is the timely delivery of utility locates. Locate requests are overseen through the one-call system, which allows locate requests to be made to a call center instead of the previous practice of separate calls to each of the utilities. Ontario has a legislative deadline of 5 business days for response to locate requests. However, industry has faced chronic delays in getting locates from utility companies. It is estimated that 85% of locate requests are late. Statistics by one call confirm that almost half of the completed completed excavator tickets for September 2021 took longer than 15 days. Without receiving these locates, most of the work on site cannot proceed and results in costly delays. For example, each hour of idle time in the sewer and water main sector costs $1,000. In the road sector, that price tag is $10,000 per day. In late 2021, a locate solution working group was convened, which included OneCall representatives, government, and industry. Through weekly meetings, solutions were discussed, and we hope to see positive regulatory changes in time for the 2022 construction season. And finally, our fourth ask, is to address Ontario's labor shortage through reforms of the immigration system. This decade, more than 86,000 construction workers in Ontario will retire. Considering the projected volume of work, industry will need to hire and retain almost 100,000 additional workers. The government's focus on the skilled trades, such as improving the provincial apprenticeship system, is welcomed. However, the scale of the issue requires that we look beyond domestic policies and also consider reforming the immigration system to help address Ontario's labor shortages. This includes designating annually 1,000 of the 9,000 allocations within the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, or OIMP, for NOC Level D general laborers who self-attest to having construction skill sets. Implementing changes to the OIMP specifically for the in-demand stream by expanding the list of eligible professions to include NOC skill levels C and D positions, and finally ensuring that application process for various OIMP streams, particularly the in-demand stream, is not overly onerous to disincentivize employers, especially small and medium-sized ones, from participating. Given that immigration is a shared responsibility between the federal and provincial governments, we urge the province to continue collaborating with the federal government to ensure the Ontario benefits from any immigration reforms that take place. I appreciate the opportunity to present, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that presentation, and we will immediately start